Coaches, welcome back. Episode 4 of the Counterculture Podcast. Coach Rapanick here with my guy, Coach Tatum. Coach, how you doing today?
Man, I'm good. I'm good. It's always glad and happy to be back on another podcast with you. It's one of my highlights of the week, and ready to talk about a little bit of scheme today.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it as well. A little different day today, trying to keep Valentine's Day open for us, but recording it on a Tuesday. But at the end of the day, we're still getting it done. Looking forward to it as always. It it's been a week. It's been a week, but we're going to grind through it. Hopefully, after today, everything will keep getting better. Goodness gracious.
Man,
Um, but yeah, looking forward to talking a little scheme today. Haven't done it a whole lot. The game planning kind of got into it, but looking forward to doing it. I would say for the majority of the episode today.
yeah, man. We're gonna talk about a little bit of counter, but the namesake of the podcast.
That's
So
right.
really excited about that. So you want to kind of let's talk about counter. Let's talk about what is counter. What do you classify as counter? And we'll kind of throw it back and forth.
Yeah, I think I don't know. People think call counter different ways. I think anytime you have a kick and a wrap, no matter who the wrap is, and really honestly, no matter who the kick is, I think at any point you have two guys pulling, you have a kick out guy and you have a wrap guy. In my eyes, that's counter. I know, especially in my area, a lot of people um call counter with just I would call it like long trap where the guard's kicking the D in versus a three technique or something like that. To each their own. But the way that I've always thought of counter, it's been primarily GT counter, the garden tackler pulling. I've seen it done different ways, obviously with different guys rapping, and I've seen the center kick and things like that. But I think in order, in my eyes, for it to be counter, there's got to be a kick and there's got to be a wrap. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I guess mine. I guess I'll throw it to be more of like backside players.
Okay,
Because
yeah, that's a better
especially
way of saying it.
because if I'm running buck sweep, some of a pin and pull, you'll have a kick and a wrap. There's nothing wrong with what you said. This is how I kind of think about it. Um, but yeah, because it doesn't matter who's kicking, who's rapping. You might have the center kick and the tailback wrap for like
Right.
a quarterback counter, and then trying to get the linebackers or the defensive eyes going one way, and then we're going back the other. And also think of it as kind of a change up to uh, power or one of your more predominant runs. Um, the action might be different. We're all stepping one way and coming back. You might be same side where we're kind of sliding to the quarterback and then same side run. But yeah, in general, like you said, two guys pulling, whoever it may be, and then some type of a misdirection for counter. And we've said this before. It's our favorite type of run scheme, and I think it's very versatile and multiple. And we're going to get into some variations today when we get into scheme and some film.
Yeah, I think the thing that I like so much about it is the different ways that you can get to the same play.
Yeah,
Obviously running it with the quarterback, different actions like we talked about last week a little bit. Whether you're reading it with the toss on the backside or it's a bash concept or there's so many different ways to be able to get to the same exact thing. Whether you're pulling the tackle like typical GT counter or you're pulling an H back or I've seen people like in tight bunch formations, they take the number 3 receiver and wrap with him. Just different ways to be able to give looks that you may not have given before, but get to the same primary component of the play. Like I said, in my opinion, which is the kick and the wrap. And I think having it as a counter play, like you said, a counter to, whether it be the power play or whatever, I've kind of gotten away from it being a counter. You know, I I
Mhm.
just I love it so much to where I'm finding ways to be able to run it, and I think people know, or I'm trying to find ways, I guess I should say, you know, a lot of people know that we run counter and inside zone are probably our two top plays. Um, but I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, look, like, I'm not trying to set it up necessarily.
Yeah.
I'm not running on the first play of the game. I think we talked about that last week or the week before, but I I've gotten away from it just because I don't want to have to, not be able to run it as much as like every couple plays, honestly.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I've said this for years, and I've said that, hey, if you're not running counter at the high school level, especially with how undisciplined some young kids' eyes can be reading their keys and stuff like that, I think you're missing out on something very huge. I think it's pretty similar to like running mesh in the passing game, with the crossers and being able to put push things off from zone or having to run with crossers in man. I think it's very difficult to try and defend. And so I think if you're not running counter, I'm really hoping that you maybe are watching this because you love counter. You're going to try and learn something, maybe some of how we do things, and it'll kind of help you out in that regard. Because with that being said, do you want to hop into it? Do you want me to go first? You go first.
Yeah, let's see some of the stuff that you got first.
All right, so I'll go ahead and present.
Hopefully, everybody that
And
won't be watching anymore by the time you're done.
yeah.
Nah.
So so what I'm going to talk about today is I'm going to talk about GH counter. I think Coach is going to talk a little more about GT, traditional GT, and I'm also going to have some bash as well. So basically, let me see if we can get this up and rolling. Let's see. Cool. So just GH counter. So I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence, but for those that don't know, just maybe against this front, we'll just talk about it real quick. So on the front side of each counter's a gap scheme, we're always going to have gap down backer rules. Basically you have the gap backside, but we're always trying to create double teams as well. So if you don't have someone in your backside, you're also looking for a double team opportunity. So more often than not, you're going to have a shade away from your H, and you have a 3 to your H. So on this, we have a 1 and a 3. Our H is on the left side. So our tackle is going to block down. Guard is going to block down. We're going to double to a backside linebacker. That's pretty standard. Then we're going to have a kick player from the backside guard, where our backside tackle is going to pick and hinge, and then our H is going to jab away, and he's going to be tight off of the double team, looking for the first wrong color jersey. And then our running back is going to jab as well, kind of selling an outside type of run, and he's going to come back underneath and follow the puller. And that is essentially GH counter. We're going to kind of just play through it. One thing, this player right here, this quarterback is a dude. So I just want to preface everything. They were very, very scared of him running the ball. So essentially, like I said, we're gonna get down blocks. We don't really get to. I'll go ahead and let it play. Don't really get a double team in this number 8, but we kick him anyway, and we get out on the play. So I'm gonna go to the next one. Yeah, I think this is a little more easy to see. We did a little check with me. Let's see. All right. So,
Coach, if you wouldn't mind,
right, now load.
and I know you're rolling. If you wouldn't mind, because I want to know, and maybe we can come back to it if that's easier for you. I would love for you to talk about how you do your check with me stuff, because that's something that I would love to be able to do, and I've never had the opportunity to talk to anybody about how they do it, to be honest with you.
I'll write that down. We'll get to that definitely.
That sounds good.
Check with me. All right, so just another look at the same approach formation. We have the receiver out here to the field, and we have the H to the boundary. Again, we're going to kick, and the puller is going to wrap inside of the kick and follow him. Right, stay tight. We don't have anything. We got kick. I'm going to put wrap for that guy, and the hole is going to be straight off of there. Cut off of this block. That's really big. We told our running back, find your H, cut off of him. He'll make us right up front. So he's going to get here, If he gets more to the inside, then you cut to the left. If he gets more to the outside, then cut to the right. That was a big coaching point for us because a lot of times they like to get up into the H's back, and then they just run into them. Don't know which way to go. So get in there, cut off of them, and let's roll. All right, so another one. So this one is a good clip. For one, because we have spill ends. I think everybody knows what that means. But essentially, these guys are trying to wrong arm or trying to go inside of our kick and make the ball spill outside for the flowing linebackers to come and get the ball. So what we worked on was logging. Instead of kicking with this guy, we worked on logging and wrapping inside, getting on the outside of him and keeping him inside. And then the puller would either trap whoever comes off the edge to pick up the spill, or he would just cut on the outside and get vertical of the spill in. And then it worked out pretty well for us. So, all right, so he guard logs him here. H is tight off of here to kick whoever shows up, and then you hit it north, vertical right now. And then it works pretty well. And then it's explosive. Next. All right. So put a little motion on it. Sorry for the how rocky this is. Hope nobody gets seasickness. So we ended up bringing a motion. And now, if you have a receiver that can hear and block, this is a play, but we don't have to break a tackle right there. We'll be out and gone. A better play. But so this guy right here was our best player overall. Receiver, we're trying to sell type of a sweep out here. So linebackers get going one way, bring the counter back the other. So now we can seal here. If this guy is, let's say this receiver actually blocked him, now we have a huge hole with nobody on the whole hash side of the field. So I really love GH counter with emotion. With motion, we did right there. It's great. All right. Now, this right here is Ninja. I hope we can see this. So right now we're going to run GH counter with the quarterback. So now we're still going to be pulling, trapping there, wrapping there. But instead of the running back getting it, we put the running back on the opposite side, and we sell bash away, and the quarterback shuffles and gets in with the pullers. I hope my diagrams make enough sense for everybody.
The bash is an awesome concept.
I'll run it back one more time. All right. Just gonna look at it. Okay. Back to opposite side. Send him this way. We're going counter the opposite way. It's actually a 2-point play for us right here. But we ended up running 2-point. All right. Here we go. All right. So this is Bash. Okay. My favorite play we're playing all. Yeah, it's not a secret to anybody. So essentially, we're doing what we just did. So now, let's say we were running quarterback GH counter, and we know that we have the H wrapping there, and we have the kick there, and we're sending him here. Well, if we're running is that quarterback GH counter, well, now we start bringing bash in. We're going to kick there, wrap there with the tackle, arc with the H back, and we're going to block out on the perimeter. He's going there, and we're going to read this guy right there. Backside read with the running back out the back door. Bash stands for back away, from what I've been told. Bash sounds good to me. We call it ride. I don't ask you what a ride. This is what we did. So when in doubt, hey, we usually tell him, hey, give the live. They're out that outside out that wide, pull it and get yards. The biggest deal about bash for me is when you got linebackers that read running back and another linebacker that reads guard. So if this guard goes here and the tackle goes there and he's reading them, he's going to go this way. And the back goes this way and he's reading the back, he's going to go this way, and they're going to hit each other. Now, on this play, they didn't, but I have seen that a lot. Where the linebackers will hit each other, and when a lot of the defense. All right, same thing. Then we're gonna go bash to the right, and it helps when you have a really fast dude on the edge. And yeah, it goes all the way to the house. Not to the house, but he goes 30 yards. Anyway. Okay, same thing. Okay, now this is some 10 personnel. Okay, it's a really good 10 personnel run if you need one. Because usually I'm gonna say inside zone or power read or the more popular 10 personnel run. This is be a big one right here. So we're gonna go counter to the left, bash to the right. And we got our rocket science, guys. You guys can see. All right, last one right here. This the quarterback point. So everybody scared. 1, 2, 3, all flying out to the bash, running quarterback back underneath. And it was a pretty good run. Okay, I'm going to overstate that. I want to do one more, and then I'll throw it to Coach. This was this year against Salisbury. Really good program in North Carolina. They beat our tail, but we actually did hit on this play. So that was actually really nice. 4 touchdowns as well. So I get them to pull up, and I'll throw it to the game. Let's see. Result. Touchdown. All right. Here we go. All right, here we go. Same deal. Okay, especially against this front, we're gonna go there, there, to there, pull and trap this end, going there. So I'm gonna show you one thing. They're a spill team, and this was 2 years ago. That one clip against Salisbury. Now this is last year against Salisbury. Spill, wrap it. Okay. So we're walking once it loads. Seal it there. Next guy gets here. Now we have a good block on the edge, right? And now we're at the H actually never blocked anybody. That's not line with it. That's when you got a good play. Let's see. One more time. Just because against Salisbury.
Pretty.
Yeah. So that's GH counter. We end up scoring. So and that was 21 personnel. I'll show the personnel again. So we got tight end on the left, H on the left, and because they wanted to load the box, well, we load the box as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing. And Coach, if you are ready, I'll throw it to you. So guys, again, that was just GH counter, excuse me, with some bash tags and then some quarterback tags as well off of GH.
The ones that I got are a little bit of there's GT. The biggest thing that I wanted to show was different ways that we read it. Different kind of wrinkles that we've started doing to be able to run the same play, like I said, different ways so that we can always run it. But let's see, let me pull it up. All right. So this is one of the plays we started running this year. Let me make sure I'm on the first one. Yeah. So this is we treat it like a RPO, but the way that I teach the quarterback is look out here. If we got 2 over 2, we can block it. As long as the DN doesn't run straight out with the H back, then we can pull it and throw the football. There's times, obviously not this one, we didn't do a great job on the play side, but there's times that we run it, and we're pulling the ball and throwing the slip like we call it, and I would have loved for him to give it. But gives you an opportunity to be able to get the ball on the perimeter in a different way. The bash is a great concept also. Gets the ball on the perimeter fast, gives you a little bit of room and space. I would love for my slot up here to keep fighting on the block. We probably get a couple more yards, but just like I said, different ways to get the ball on the perimeter. So this we run, we call this X. It's talking the backfield action. For us, if we're getting a team that's going to squeeze a lot hard on the backside, we're going to make this X call for the backfield. And basically, what's happening is that play side back is going to come and kick out the backside D end. I know people like base block it and stuff like that, or people call it capping the backside. It's our way of being able to do that, still in a quote unquote spread type look. So you see here, and we kind of get like a proximity fake out of it a little bit. You can see like the play side inside linebacker jumps over here with the first running back, but it allows us to be able to still run the play without having to worry about that hard bend on the backside. The majority of the time we're reading that doesn't mean we always get a great read. So it tells the quarterback if we're going X, automatic give, let's run the football. So long for us, if we have an idea, or say if we don't have an idea, a lot of time is towards the beginning of the game. We're running this in our 11 personnel stuff. We're telling the guard he's staying. Now the tackle becomes the kick, and the H back becomes the wrap for that play side inside linebacker. So again, different way of getting to it. Pretty good play for us a lot of the time. H back kind of gets caught up a little bit, and we wind up winding it back. But gives us the ability to be able to run the same play. We'll run it out of a 50 front, any kind of odd front, really, if we don't know exactly what we're going to get that week, or if they're mixing it back and forth within the game.
Coach, is that delay by the running back design?
I know we talked about it last week. So one thing that I've been trying to figure out, and if anybody sees this, and Coach, if you know, I need help with the pullers coming from a further distance so I can get the running backs timing better. This kid that we have at running back right now is a senior, or was a senior. He's graduating this year, but he kind of understood it. What we're trying to avoid, or what I think anybody who runs counter tries to avoid, is all this stuff in the backfield getting clogged up. This kid could do it, but what we started doing was telling him to pause until he sees the wrap guy across his face. So yes, it is, for lack of a better way to say it, is by design. It's not preferred, but it allowed us to be able to kind of hit it a little bit cleaner. I think our our tackles kick out is way too deep. And I think that's what causes the H back to kind of get slowed up a little bit. But still a pretty good play for us. So this is a 3-back play. We're running bash, just like you said, Coach. I showed it again as a kind of a way to be able to show different ways that we get to our counter play. So we're going to arc. We're running the bash out here. So I teach our running backs, we're running outside zone. We're still reading the backside DN, just like everybody in America does when they run this bash stuff. And another reason why I put it on here too is because last week we were talking about if you're running counter or you're pulling linemen on the goal line. That's a pretty good hit for us. But you can see too, our H-back's wrong here. He should go out one more, in my opinion. It's actually the first week that we started running the H-back stuff. But you can see kind of where the running back flow, and I know you talked about it too, Coach. When they see all this action going this way, it's going to hold this guy up and it's going to hold this guy up. And we're able to hit it pretty well. So, and honestly, and my quarterback will tell you, he's not a burner. What I tell all my quarterbacks, especially him, is I don't need you to be able to break any play for 60 yards. Yes, if you can, that's great. I love it. But I need you to be a runner that can make the defense wrong. So if we're running zone read and the DN squeezes, you pull the ball, you get me 4 or 5 yards, life's great. We move on to the next one. So, he's a good athlete, don't get me wrong, but he's not a kid who's going to beat a lot of people in a foot race. So we call this swing. It's a good read by the quarterback here. Gets a little muddy down here, as you can see. We're running long again, so it's the tackle's kicking, the H-back's wrapping. He's running the counter for us. We call it crown. He's running the swing. So we're reading, in this case, it would be this guy, but you can obviously see that all three of these guys jump out here. But we're reading that overhang. So if he's going to come get in the mix in the run, great. We're going to throw this swing, like we call it, out here. And we teach it as a flare from the opposite side of the quarterback. So same thing. We're reading that. Outside linebacker, he comes and plays a swing. Great. We've taken 3 guys out of the play at this point. Our kick and our wrap gets switched up. And there it goes. If we get a block at receiver down here, it's a touchdown. And we probably win this game. Pretty good acting by my running back down here, too, if you didn't see it. But, it almost makes it to where the double teams don't even necessarily need to get to the backside linebacker. Up front, this is pretty ugly. It's not what you would love to see as an O-line coach and as a guy who's, running this play as the name of a podcast. But what it allows it to do is you're pulling all these guys out of the play. If it cuts back, that's fine. There we go. I like that a lot. I wish we would have ran it more, to be quite honest with you. So I know last week we talked, and again, this is a bash concept also. Last week we talked about different ways. So if you watch the backfield right here, you can see this slide motion that I talked about briefly. You see the quarterback and running back bump. Now the running back becomes the quarterback.
Yeah.
Obviously, we want the running back running the ball right here. So if there's any doubt, pull it and let's go. Again, not a beautifully blocked play. I think our tackle gets hung up a little bit. But, like I said before, just trying to show different ways that we got to be able to run the play. And we never had anybody do anything when we did this. We didn't do it a whole lot, but it allowed the guy to run the ball that we want running the ball.
I love it.
So this is the last one. This is the pitch action like we talked about. Again, quarterback is not a burner. He's an able runner. He is not scared to run the football. I just don't run him a whole lot. But there you go again. I know we talked last week about how, in my opinion, it kind of makes the read clearer for the quarterback because this DN has got to go right now to play this toss. And we were a big toss team last year. And we kind of were the year before that, but we had a lot of success on this particular play with this tag because, we're in a bunch of formation up here. We're trying to get the ball on the edge the majority of the game. So now we're going to say, okay, we're going to read that. If the DN plays the pitch, we're keeping the ball and we're running counter. The backside tackle gets hung up a little bit here. I think if we can get it to where he's a little bit cleaner, this is our first game of the year, but he needs to be a little bit deeper, in my opinion. And if we can get to that play side linebacker, we got a pretty good play. Like you see here, he's a good athlete. He's not going to make a whole lot of people miss.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I said, just trying to find as many different ways to be able to run the play, that we all love as we can. And we had a couple other ones, but
Yeah.
not as much film as I would like to have to be able to show it. So,
Yeah. You kind of asked about some check with me.
yes.
Yeah. So basically, so I know Pearson did it. He did it very well. Like he would have, you try to be, you'd like to be able to run all of your stuff out of all of your formations.
Right.
And so he would call, whatever formation, call it right. Okay. So he'd call it right and say, this is right. And then he'll go out there and we'll go freeze. Okay. So we'll go out there and the quarterback, say hut, hut, and nothing happens. He'll look at the sideline and he already has the play call based off of what the defense looks like. If he wants to call a pass, he'll do that. If he wants to call a run, he'll do that. He'll signal it in on all the skill, have see the signal, and can hear the quarterback say it. And the quarterback's just telling the line, "Hey, we're running, running power, run power." All right, then so and then we'll go and we'll run it. So then if we wanted to go do that again, we would go, no huddle. We can go go. This means like go fast, like get on the ball, let's go. Or he might, if you want to do the same formation, he'll be like, you do the same thing, but then he'll go freeze. So everybody sees the freeze, and then we'll run up to the line. The quarterback gives the line a call. We could be whatever. I think we did we call it like Green Bay or something like places that are cold, like Green Bay, Fargo, places like that. So we just yell that, and eventually they might pick up on it. But yeah, the 5 yards is great, but we're trying to see what the defense is in to get us in a great play. So
Right.
So who cares if they hear it? So we'll do that, and then VC he goes hut, and then if they move or shift or hey they roll a coverage, okay now I know I can call this to get us in a great play. So it's all about you got to call your formation and know what you want out of your formation ahead of time or with the flow of the game, stuff like that,
Right.
and then be able to signal it in. But you gotta go fast, right? You can't. I've seen some places be like, all right, yeah, we'll come out of the huddle and guys, we're going to check with me. Like, no, it ain't gonna work. You don't have time to signal another play in. Otherwise, that's just going on 2 or 3. So one of the big things is going fast and getting on the ball and having some way to communicate. Hey, there's no play.
Right.
And I always, every line coach tells their guys, if one of us jumps off sides or one of the skill jumps off sides, like, hey, what was the play? Freeze. Well, what are you doing on freeze?
Right.
What was your route? What was your
That's
blocking
right.
assignment on freeze? Oh, I don't know. Then where you going?
Right.
So that's always a fun way. You mess with the kids, but that's kind of how we do it. I know there's different ways. Some people do it, and that works for us. I don't know. So
Yeah, that's similar. That's how we did it also. I feel that's one of the things that I've always wanted to learn more about because I've tried doing it to where I would signal an entire play. And this is in practice. I never tried to do it in game.
yeah,
But I would signal the play or I'd call the entire play and then we'd go check. And typically what would happen is the quarterback would clap and we'd run the play that was called. So, but freeze is similar to how we do it too. I think, I always thought of it as kind of like a switch up deal, but I mean, if that's like a fairly common thing, I would probably wind up doing it a little bit more just because, um, you know, and we don't have a whole lot of people rolling coverages and stuff like that against us.
yeah,
At least not currently, but it'll be interesting to see kind of what goes on this fall. But I think that's a common misconception is a lot of people say like, okay, we're going to check with me or whatever you want to refer to it as. And they're doing it to be able to get 5 yards.
mm-hmm.
I'm doing it because we may be in a situation like you said, where, it's a really important play or down and distance or something like that. Maybe there's a tendency that the defense has. You're trying to figure out, are they going to do what I think they're going to do? And then I'm going to call the play based on that.
Mhm.
There's situations where I have done it to be able to get a free 5 yards, but I think to be able to do it, you always have to have like, okay, what's the play going to be if they don't jump?
Yeah.
Um, so I always try, like, I don't signal myself, my offensive line coach does. So literally after I call freeze, I try and give him what the play is going to be, just in case we're getting, further into the play clock and all that stuff. I want to make sure we're not, getting delayed games because of it. But,
Yeah, the
uh,
big thing as well is to practice it. You got to practice. I was bad last year practicing those things. I just, it's not that I didn't. Oh, we don't need to practice it. I was so caught up on trying to make things work last year
right,
that doing that was kind of secondary or even third on the
right,
importance, and we didn't do very much. Like all year, I might have called freeze like 10 times. It's
right.
just we weren't great at it because we didn't practice it. So I mean, it's not really wasn't a part of who we were. We're an up tempo team, more of a slow huddle type deal. So it didn't really work for us. Um, so I mean, yeah, but if you're an up tempo, let's go and roll, folks. Yeah, I think that's definitely something you need to be doing. So check with me type deal.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. I think you see so many teams. I don't know as much on Sundays, but you see so many teams doing it on Saturdays, and they're able to get up to the ball. Ole Miss is fantastic at it.
Yeah.
Another school that's good at it too that I've seen is Western Kentucky. How
Mhm.
fast they're able to get back on the ball and either call the next play or go some kind of check with me deal. And I mean, I think you get to the point now where obviously more teams are going up tempo than they used to, but I think with that, if you're able to kind of control the tempo in a sense to where you can get up on the ball fast and then go check with me situation, I mean, it's sweet. It's cool to watch, in my opinion. How people manipulate tempos and things like that.
Yeah. Well, guys, I hope y'all are able to learn something a little bit more about power and a power counter. Excuse me. Oh, mine is all over the place. I have my huddle still up here on my screen right here, and the next player here is power. But I hope that y'all are able to learn a little bit more about counter and more importantly variations of counter because that's where you make your hay. Because everybody runs counter, everybody runs power and inside zone and butt sweep outside zone, whatever. It's the variations and the what if to what they do, and
Exactly.
that's what you need to get to. So I've been writing down. I'm stealing some coach stuff. Already written some things down, and I haven't drawn the diagrams, but I'll be watching this back over again and then talking to him as well.
Yeah, I think, just with everything, right? You always want to have some kind of answer to the if then scenario, right? We don't have time to have an answer to everything, but I think if you're going to have something that you hang your hat on, if you hang your hat on inside zone, then you need to come up with as many different ways to be able to protect that play as you can.
Yeah.
You know, Counter, I think is ours. We run inside zone a lot, but I want to be able to run counter no matter what.
Mhm.
And I know we've talked about this, is trying to figure out ways to protect it, whether it be, if we're kicking the backside in with the play side back or, some of the things that I showed, but also in my opinion, I guess we do kind of run it as a counter, with the toss action and things like that.
Mhm.
Trying to have ways that it looks similar, but there may be one or two things that are just a little bit different to give the defense a different kind of look.
Yeah.
Um,
You got to
but
make sure you can practice it all. Like
yeah,
I have like my own personal playbook that I'm putting together, and my run game's done. The thing is, there's a lot, right? There's a lot of I only have 5 base run schemes, but there's a lot of variations. So then my job is to pick and choose, hey, what's important and what can the kids do, right?
yep,
Like I can have 12 variations, but if they can't run 12 variations, then I have no variations,
that's
right?
right. Absolutely.
So that I think that's valuable as well. So don't just fall in love with oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's all. Yeah, because it all is awesome. But
Right.
we can't run it. It's all sucks.
Right.
So yeah, having to do that is painful sometimes as a coordinator. To pick and choose, but that also makes it fun. Hey, it's a part
Yeah.
of the chess match, and what variations can we take into this week, and what can we not, and what can the kids do? Like
Yeah.
you might not have a guy that can read. You might have a quarterback that can make great decisions, but he's a great player. So you're not gonna take him off the field because he can't read something.
Right.
Figure out another way to do it.
That's
So
right.
there's one thing you have to debate in your own mind and with your staff and with your personnel as well.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. I think it was last week when we were talking about that period at the beginning of practice or at any point during practice, whether it's before practice starts or whatever, where you get the quarterbacks and you get the running backs out there and you
Mhm,
go through all those tags.
mhm.
You know, yes, it's a good amount of stuff, but if you can find ways to compartmentalize them together, like
Yeah,
this read is similar to this one, we're always going to read the backside D end on this, and this, but it's different ways of getting to it. Um, I think that is where between my first year and this year, where everything was so much smoother, is because we did that. And it got to the point where the kids were like, come on, coach, like, do we need to? Yes, we need to keep doing it. And we're working quarterback footwork, we're working the running back path, we're working angles, we're doing all that stuff at the same time. But with me, and I'm sure you're the same way, you want to keep everything for the O line as simple and as easy to remember as possible.
same
So
as.
that's right. If I can add a tag that tells the backfield how to do something,
Mhm.
but I still keep the same word for the O line, and they know that they're blocking this, I'm doing it because I think it's going to make it to where, I can spend that extra 5-10 minutes with the running backs. It's a little bit harder for me to take individual time from the O line, in my opinion, to go over that new stuff week to week. Or, I think one point that you made that was good too, in my opinion, is when you talk about not having to carry every single variation in every week.
Mhm.
You may play a team that you're like, okay, I know we're not going to be able to run GT counter, but I can run GH counter or I can run tackle H-back counter or whatever. Then
Yep.
that's what you rep that week. You know what I mean? And then if 2 weeks after that, you go back to what you were running and repping the week before or 3 weeks before or whatever the case is, then that's what you rep. What I do is through the summer, we're repping all of them. And
Mhm.
then it becomes like hey guys, do you remember this? And we may have to rep it more, or we may just not be able to do it. But I think the more time that you can get just repping and repping and repping and repping all those tags and variations or whatever you want to call it, it's going to make it to where the transition, just like anything really, the transition from practice to the game is going to be a lot smoother.
No doubt. No doubt. Well, coach, you got anything else you want to talk about counter before we move it on?
I'll talk about counter all day. That you
I
know
know, right? I
that.
know. I just stay here and just watch film. But
Right.
um, so I was talking to Coach Rapanick a little before this. We're gonna kind of talk about just a life question, kind of just something light, something simple. I might throw him a curveball one week and hit him with a little more harder one. But having each one of us, we're gonna have some type of a off the wall, not coaching, not football question. Just ask the other and kind of get their opinion on it. And then we'll answer it ourselves, and then we'll do the vice versa. But the other one doesn't know about it. So, coach, I want to keep it easy, and I think I kind of can see where it's going to go because of where you live now. But question, first one, real simple: beach or the mountains? And give me some type. You can if hey you live at the beach now, so if it's more of a mountains. Tell me why, and then because you've lived in that area for a long time. So, which one is it? Would you rather beach or the mountains?
I gotta go beach, man. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'll say this. I went to Montana a couple years ago, and I grew up in Southeast Virginia. I've lived in Hereford. I've been obviously kind of down the East Coast. Not much mountains here, but Montana was beautiful. So I mean, I'm not opposed to the mountains, but the beaches I've been around my whole life. I think I think not necessarily stuff to do, but I love fishing too. So, I need to be able to find a good amount of water to be able to fish, that's for sure. Um, but yeah, I gotta go beach. I gotta go beach. What are you
Yeah.
taking?
I'm beach as well. I love the water. Like you said, fishing. I'm a big fishing guy. We gotta get together and go fishing. Um,
Absolutely.
so yeah, I mean, just when it's hot, I don't like being hot at all. I never like being hot. So if I can get around some water and cool off, I'm gonna do it. Um, Living in Virginia Beach for that year and a half was was,
Mhm.
was awesome. I miss it, but being where I live now is kind of middle of the state, so it's kind of the same distance to the mountains and the beach. So I've grown up either one or the other.
Right.
I have a lot of friends that went to App, so going up to see football games in Boone and going to Gatlinburg or just through the Smokies or the Appalachian Mountains has been a big part of my life as well. So I guess I would say summer, beach, winter, mountains. A little bit of a cop out, but if I had to pick one, I'm saying beach. I'm seeing beach for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I don't know, man. And I think part of it for me is just like not being around the mountains much,
mhm,
especially growing up, man. Like
yeah.
we went places, but we never went anywhere cold. Like our
Mhm,
vacation destination was never like to go snowboarding or skiing or anything like
yeah.
that. So that's part of it too. But, we would go to like Myrtle Beach or, we went to Florida and stuff like that. So I, the mountains have just, I've never been like exposed to it a whole lot. So yeah, I got to take beach. I got to take
Yeah.
beach.
Yeah, I would love to go out to Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, something like that, where there's beautiful mountains, or like Utah, like just seeing like the mountains and like the backdrop of some of these stadiums,
Yeah,
or just like just you see like just it's nothing but just flat, but then you just have these big mountains, and I think that would be absolutely thrilling. But at the end of the day, put me on a boat and let's go fishing.
that's right. I think for me too is like, when you're not exposed to that kind of thing
Hmm.
as much, when you see it, it's like that much more mesmerizing. Because I
Yeah,
remember like when we went to Montana, I was just looking around, I was like, this is incredible. Like it just didn't make any sense. I've seen like hills, but I've never seen anything like that. It was beautiful. That's for sure.
yeah. Yeah. Well, guys, that's kind of our like just random off the wall question. If y'all want to help us with that, you can DM Coach, DM me with one of the questions, and you can say if you want it anonymous or tell us or whatever you want to. I thought I'd kind of add just a little bit more get to know us personally as well than just football questions. But Coach, you're on the spot for next week, so you can
I'm ready.
hit me with a curveball, or you can hit me with a nice little change up. So you let me
I'm
know.
gonna start thinking about it now. My ideas sometimes aren't great, so I'm gonna have to start thinking about it and start planning now to
Yeah,
make sure I can get something good. That's for sure.
yeah. I have some hard ones that I was going
I
to
was gonna
say.
say that was a lot easier than I was expecting when
Yeah,
we were talking about it before.
I do have some hard ones. So I'm not gonna. I mean, it's not hard, but it's like, dang. Okay, all right, let's go. So I'm like one of them is so good. I might like text you before and be like, hey, go ahead and prepare for this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to really start thinking then because I can't. I don't know of anything like that. I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
Google some stuff to get some inspiration.
no doubt. Well, Coach, you got anything else for the folks before we left send them on?
Like we always say, keep learning, keep doing it for the kids.
Yeah, man. Hey, it's off season, but don't just relax. Make sure you're still helping your kids out, mentoring them.
That's right.
Weight room stuff's coming along. development. This is development time for yourself and for your kids. So make sure you're doing that. And at the end of the day, have fun with it. Too
That's
many
right.
guys out here being like, I'm out here to grind. Like, no, man, like make it fun. Make it fun for the
Right.
kids because at the end of the day, they don't want to be bogged down with, you know, so they have so much stuff to deal with anyway. So
That's
make
right.
it fun, love on them.
That's right.
So
We're getting closer, man. Started scheduling
yeah,
some 7-on-7s this week.
that's crazy. It's crazy. It's
Oh,
crazy. Spring's
it's about
coming.
that time. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, man. All right, guys. Well, hey, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and make sure you comment one of those questions or something you learned about counter. Let us know what your favorite variation was, or something like that, or DM us for other type of podcast ideas for the main topic. And if you have anybody you would like to see us bring on and talk to as a guest, make sure you tag them if you see this video on Twitter and stuff like that, and we'll get them on for sure. But for Coach Rapanick, I'm Coach Tatum. This is the Counter Culture Podcast, and we'll see y'all next week.